This is my recap of The Little Couple, Season 6, Episode 3, We're in This Together. This is another hour-long episode, and it's pretty emotional, but I have a feeling this entire season is going to be. The adoption in India is done. Bill is there with Nanny, Kate, Zoey, and Will, and they want to hurry up and get home and find out what's going on with Jen. So basically, we just see them pack up and Bill say how tough this is going to be not have Jen there, not to have his wife there, and we race home and we meet back up with Jen. Now, they're back with Jen, and she's been having testing done to find out why she's been bleeding, and we find out that Jen has stage 3 cancer. She has a rapidly growing tumor on her uterus, and it's attached to 3 nodules in her lungs, and this sounds really scary to me. I'm not an oncologist, but cancer is definitely scary. But she says it's not gone to her brain, so it's better than it could be. And they discuss the fact that they don't want this to overshadow the joy of Zoey's adoption, and they have made the decision to let the TV show follow Jen's journey through cancer treatment. Now, if they had decided otherwise, that would be well within their rights, and I wouldn't resent it. But I do appreciate that they're going to let us kind of come along and find out what happens with Jen. As a viewer, I feel very attached to Jen, and I genuinely care about her health and well-being. And since they have decided to let us see it, I do appreciate that. Of course, it would be their decision if they felt differently. So just like they did with Will, they are getting rid of the camera people, no visitors, no nanny, no nothing, for several weeks so they can just spend it with Zoey. And we see a lot of pictures that they took at home, just on their normal cameras, of them playing with Zoey and getting Will and Zoey to, their brother and sister. So playing together, going on walks, basically just introducing Zoey to their life in America, their home, how things are going to be, and just assuring her through action that she is loved, she's a member of this family, and this is her home permanently. Really beautiful. Now, the only difference between what Will went through and what Zoey's going through is that Jen has started her cancer treatment. So they said about once a week she would go away overnight and she would get chemotherapy, and when she came back the next day she would have some side effects, like they couldn't push on her stomach and things like that. Now, when the camera crew comes back, she has been in cancer treatment for at least I'm not quite sure how long, but for some time, and she has started to lose her hair. She's wearing little caps, little skull caps to kind of cover her scalp and to keep her warm. And she discussed that she wants to get a wig. So we get to go along with her to Kitsa, who's going to help her with this process of picking out a wig. And we get to see that Jen has lost almost all of her hair, and Kitsa kind of takes clippers and clips down what she has left, which is just real bare. And then we watch her try on different wigs, and she tries out red and brunette and all these things. And she ends up settling on a wig that looks very much like her own hair. And that, that has to kind of be a comfort to her during this tumultuous time. And of course, Bill says in interviews how much he loves her and how she thinks she's just perfect the way she looks. And he's just such a sweet guy. He just loves her so much. Now, they have brought Kate back to continue nannying, and that means that Bill can go with Jen on her 7th chemo treatment. And so do we. So we go with her while she's getting all set up, and it's very hard to watch. It's just scary, and you feel like you know her, so it's like someone you really know is going through this, and so I found it challenging to watch. The doctor in charge of chemotherapy explains that Jen has a very aggressive chemotherapy. Normally, they would adjust the chemotherapy based on your height and weight, but because Jen has average-size organs, they have to use a medication dose that matches her organ size, because the original dosage they were using just wasn't working. And so she ends up having, for her body size, a very aggressive dosage, which leads to a lot of side effects and different kinds of pains and aches and stuff. So, so there you go. And that's kind of what we see at the cancer treatment, which is hard hard to see, but it's, of course, it's balanced out by how beautiful and wonderful her children are, and they are heading into the Christmas season. So last year at Christmas, they didn't have any children. Now they have 2. And this is the opportunity for them to start building family traditions around Christmas. And so they get the kids a small Christmas tree. And they, they have to introduce the idea of ornaments and just the way that Bill and Jen celebrate Christmas. And it's so, so cute. Probably the sweetest moment is that they're being really open about the fact that when you adopt a child, it's not this instant bond. They don't just hand you the child and the child understands that you're their forever home. It's a process where you have to earn the trust of the child and back and forth, and you create these bonds. Now, what we see is that Zoey's relationship with Bill is progressing a little bit slower than Zoey's relationship with Jen. And that makes a lot of sense because Zoey was in an adoption agency that mostly had other females, and the people that worked there were mostly female and stuff. So she's just more comfortable with females, and so her relationship with Bill is just going a little slower. So during the time that they are decorating their Christmas tree, at some point Zoey just sort of collapses on Bill's back and just kind of hangs out there. And it's a really sweet moment because it's showing that she is building this trust with him, that she's feeling more comfortable with him. And it was a really neat thing to share. I actually have a really good friend who adopted a child, and I've asked her quite a bit about her experience, because it seems if someone just gave me a child today, I would feel really like, what am I doing? I don't, what's going on? And she said that's kind of how it was. In her case, the lady just came up and like handed her a baby and was like, you're now a mom, and left. And that was kind of her experience. So I'm really enjoying the opportunity to learn about how an adopted family becomes a family. So I'm finding a lot of joy in this. And the only other thing that happened this particular episode is that the alarm goes off at the pet store, and Bill calls the pet store, and Jen's mom answers and says, everything's fine. And then Jen points out that even if everything wasn't fine, like if someone was there holding her up, she would answer that way. So she convinces Bill to go to the pet store, just drive by and make sure everything was fine. Which is funny because I was having the exact same conversation in my head as what Jen said. So I just thought that was fun. And at the very end, they dress up the kids with traditional costumes from their individual countries and take Christmas photos. And they are so cute, I almost died. Such a cute, adorable family. The kids are so sweet. I just love them. Anyway, I will see you guys next week.